The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
What a wonderful crowd. This is great. We're happy to be back in Saskatoon. It's been a couple of years since we've had the S.V.M in Saskatoon. But it is the 37th investiture of the Saskatchewan Order of Merit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. And to those joining us at home, across the province, both online and on television through Access Communications, a warm welcome indeed. Now I'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land upon which we're all gathered this evening is Treaty 6 territory, in the home of the Métis. My name's Jason Quilliam. I'm Saskatchewan's Chief of Protocol, and this evening I have the distinct pleasure of being your Master of Ceremonies. Now in a moment I will be asking you to rise, if you're able, for the arrival of the Vice-Regal Party. Upon their arrival, at the table here, the Vice-Regal Salute, which comprises of portions of our royal and national anthems, will be played, but not sung. A couple quick housekeeping items. The hotel asked me to mention, in the case of emergency, behind this backdrop, there is an emergency exit, so we're not going to need it. It's fine, but it's there, as well as the one all the way in the back of the room. And I'll just ask, if you haven't already, please just put your cell phones to silent. So there's always one. Sometimes it's me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're able, would you please rise? His Honor, the Honourable Russ Morasti, Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan, and Her Honor, Donna Morasti. Thank you. Please be seated. I would now like to invite Blue Jay Linklater to come forward for an honor song. And I've had a request for our recipients this evening, just the recipients. If you could just stand during the honor song. This is in part for you. Nora, yeah, absolutely. Would you please rise?
Hey
Well, thank you, Mr. Linklater. And I invite Knowledge Keeper, Lyndon Linklater, to come forward to give a blessing.
Yeah, I can't help it. Get me in front of a crowd with a microphone. I was offered tobacco here to come and offer a prayer, but I just wanted to share with you a little bit about what just happened here. He happens to be my nephew, and he's been singing ever since before he could walk. He'd have his own little drum, and he would sing, and nobody knew how to do that. But anyways, that song and how we did that in our culture, on my father's side, on my late father's side, we are known as Ojibwe people, Anishinaabe peoples. And when we honor, people the way we just did, we get them to rise, and they're the only ones to stand. And we sing an honor song. And that song, why we chose that song, to honor them for the work they've done throughout their lives. And to try and remember that we will honor them forever. That's kind of like what the meaning is behind that song. So I thought I would share that with you. Again, I myself too, I want to recognize this beautiful land that we are on. It's known as Treaty 6 territory. I can't help but also recognize our neighbors to the south of us, the Dakota people. As some of you may or may not know, Chief Whitecap was approached by this man by the name of John Lake to build a colony, which ultimately ended up becoming what is now the greatest city in Canada, called Saskatoon. But through that partnership together, they worked together, they met and they toured, and they came across close to where Rainy Modern now sits, in and around that area. And that's, the chief said, this would be a good place to build your colony. And this is how City of Saskatoon ultimately evolved. I also want to acknowledge our Métis relatives as well. Next door to Whitecap, once upon a time, there was a community, a settlement called the Round Prairie Métis Settlement. And Nora here is being honored tonight. She could tell you lots of stories about the people there, and she herself coming from there, ultimately coming to City of Saskatoon, and they too helping to create the City of Saskatoon. So I want to acknowledge the Indigenous component, to our city here, as well as to our province and to the country. So again, I just thought I would share that with you. I've been offered tobacco. In our culture, tobacco is very important to be offered whenever you ask someone to come and share a prayer or ask for knowledge or to assist in various ways. So I thank Jason for offering me the tobacco, and he mentioned to me that it comes in a fabric which is very meaningful to the regiment, and the colors that it has. So it's a great meaning. I'm very honored to have been presented this. I'm going to say a prayer in my mother's language, which is Plains Cree. And basically what I'm going to say is I'm going to give thanks for the day, for blessings for all of us here, for good health for us, as well as our families, our children, and for good things to happen in our province here. That's what I'm going to say. And of course, to give thanks for the food that you're going to share tonight. Me and Blue Jay, we got to take off. But I just wanted to say that, and I can't help but crack a joke to the Lieutenant Governor here. I got a message from somebody here, and it says, Dante Tawayan Kimasksana, Tunimida Sin. In Cree, where did you buy your moccasins from? They're beautiful. They really are. Anyways, with that, I'll offer a prayer, and again, thank you for the tobacco. Congratulations to the recipients. Long time coming. You deserve it. You truly deserve it, and thank you for your service. Thank you so much, all of you. With that, I'd say a little prayer in my mother's language, and just bear with me. And if you want, you can, in your own way, communicate, to our Creator, however you do that, to give thanks as well. So with that, at the begin, Stemao, Umumanginigoyan, Big Squish Taman, Panaswa, and a Sinapan Mina. Rapeswich the Moyak, Biwichia Gakyo Sinok, Wasgamipia, and Naskuman Gakyoki by Imigostic, Gitanami Mina, Kutakis Gaumina, Miwas and Gakyoki by Elvi Pats, Mitsuchik, Wisnik Mina, which a Gakyoko Mute when Miopamatsu and Gakyo Sino, Gakyo Kumagana, was a Simsak Mina, Gosagotansa. So if the Moyagichi here, Sigagi Smutat, Agistamin Gawina, and Gawinaneski, Gistamin and Naskumun, Gistamina Wichia, be swift the Moya, Noemia, Agismutat, the Magestok, the Magestok, the Magino, Gakio. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Me and Blue Jay are going to sneak off after the Padre. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very appreciated. Now it's a pleasure for me to invite Captain Ivan Nahachowski, the Padre of the North Saskatchewan Regiment here in Saskatoon, to give the invocation, the prayer of the Saskatchewan Order of Merit.
Good evening, everybody. We are a diverse people with lots of different faiths and beliefs, and to the God of your own understanding, please pray with me. We ask divine blessings upon our sovereign, King Charles, upon the Chancellor and members of the Saskatchewan Order of Merit. We acknowledge with gratitude their standards of excellence, the gifts of their time and talents, and their devotion to the common good. We give thanks for the members of the Order who have departed this life and are at rest. May we all have the desire and the will to follow their example of loyalty, generosity, and service to others. We pray for this province and this country, that we may enjoy freedom and peace and fulfill our responsibilities as citizens, mindful of the well-being of all our people. Amen.
Now at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll ask you to observe a moment of silence for the members of the Order who we have received word that have passed away since our last investiture. And I'll read their names. Constantine Campbell, invested in 1998. Anne Luke, 2016. Bernard Barclay, 2004. Dorothy Knowles, 1987. Walter Nelson, 1990. Aaron Peterson, 2009. Alan Schmeiser, 2015. David E. Smith, 2015. Fred Wagman, 2000. And D. Michael Jackson, 2007. Thank you. We'll begin the investiture. Your honors, Premier, former lieutenant governors, former premiers, ministers of the Crown, representative of the Leader of the Official Opposition, Chief Justice and Chief Judge, members of the Legislative Assembly, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. 6 qualified citizens have been duly nominated and selected to receive the Saskatchewan Order of Merit for 2023, and all are present in accordance with the provisions of the Provincial Emblems and Honors Act. Now, His Honor, the Chancellor of the Order, has instructed me to present to him these persons for investiture with the Saskatchewan Order of Merit and to read the letters patent conferring the order upon them. I'll do so now. Canada, Province of Saskatchewan, Charles III, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom, Canada, and its other realms and territories, King, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith. 2, Al Anderson, and I'll get our recipients to stand when I say your name. Nora Cummings. Neal Hardy. Pierre Hucl. Meikle. Jacqueline Tisher. Know ye that in recognition of your outstanding contributions to Saskatchewan society, on the nomination of our Saskatchewan Honors Advisory Council, and with the approval and on the recommendation of the President of our Executive Council for the Province of Saskatchewan, we do by these presents invest you with the Saskatchewan Order of Merit. And we do hereby admit you to the membership of the said order, together with the rights, privileges, and advantages thereunto appertaining. And in testimony whereof we have caused these, our letters, to be made patent, and the great seal of our province of Saskatchewan to be hereunto affixed. Witness, our right trustee and well-beloved, the Honorable Russ Morasti, member and Chancellor of our Saskatchewan Order of Merit, and Lieutenant Governor of our province of Saskatchewan, at Government House in our capital city of Regina in our said province, this 27th day of September, 2023, and in the second year of our reign. By command, Bronwyn Eyre, Attorney General, Scott Moe, Premier, and signed by Russ Morasti, Chancellor and Lieutenant Governor, and sealed with the Great Seal of the Province of Saskatchewan. Please be seated. And I'll invite His Honor to come up. We'll start the investiture. And we'll begin with Al Anderson. I'm going to say a few nice words about you here, Al. Al Anderson, his name here in Saskatoon, is synonymous with such a wide range of endeavors that it is, frankly, impossible for me to list them all here. But I'll name just a few. Family man, sportsman, entrepreneur, musician, community activist, motivational speaker, and incredible advocate for disabled persons. And these are all facets of the incredible 9 decades of life well lived by the man standing before you here this evening. Now, Al grew up in the Depression right here in Saskatoon, the youngest of 5. And life must not have been easy, but those challenging times created in him a desire to build a wonderful life for his own 5 children and his wife Joan. And what a wonderfully busy life it's been. Running Al Anderson's Source for Sports, the family business, summers at the cabin, basketball, hockey, golf, and speaking with Al's kids, I got a picture of a family man who worked hard, but also who took the time to ensure that they had the opportunities perhaps denied to him during the difficult 1930s. And as frenetic as the home and work life must have been, Al has spent decades giving back, and I mentioned music. For many years, on December 31st, right here in this room and a few others in this hotel, Al would spend the evening playing with the Ray Dolan Band, bringing joy into a new year. I may come after Al and sing a few bars with you. Al has spent, as I mentioned, decades giving back to this community. He's been described to us as calm and focused, honest and loyal and faithful. He was an early leader of the Riversdale Kiwanis Club and a key member of their signature project, the Riki Walkathon, which has raised millions of dollars for Camp Easter Seal. And when his and Joan's son Douglas was born with special needs, they worked with other families facing similar challenges and set the stage for a variety of organizations that provide opportunities for those with special needs. Working with other leaders to create Elmwood residences, Cosmopolitan Industries, and the Saskatchewan Prevention Center. Now, these organizations have impacted thousands of people who, prior to the 1960s, were insulated and often shunned in society, but now have the ability to gather in fellowship and to contribute to society in a variety of meaningful ways. Your Honor, I present to you for investiture with the Saskatchewan Order of Merit, a man of multifarious efforts and who has had immeasurable impact on the lives of so many, Al Anderson. See, I told you there'd be one. Nora Cummings. I'm going to say a few nice words about you, Nora. With the dawn of the new year in 1938, the world was in flux. While there appeared to be some light at the end of the tunnel that was a nearly decade-long depression, the winds of war were churning, and the next 7 years would be ones of massive challenge and change. But at the Saskatoon Hospital, on that chilly New Year's Day nearly 86 years ago, much of that external noise was lost in the joy of the birth of Nora Cummings, a proud descendant of the Round Prairie Métis, a woman who stands before you, having lived an extraordinary life. Her parents brought her home to her people on the Métis Road Allowance in Saskatoon, and she learned about her history and her heritage at the feet of her elders. And thank goodness that she did. Now she's a mother of 10, a grandmother and great-grandmother to nearly 100. She's an elder, a senator, a breaker of barriers and glass ceilings, a mentor and a tradition keeper, but also humble, loving, patient, someone who has lived her life on a foundation of faith and respect. A founding member in 1969 of the Gabriel Dumont Local Number 11, she was one of the Métis Society's first field workers. She helped found the Saskatchewan Native Women's Association, and she even ran for city council in an era where women, and especially women of Indigenous descent, were actively and publicly discriminated against. She persevered, guided by an abiding desire to work towards the goal of bringing Indigenous and non-Indigenous people together to learn and to make our communities better. She has been described to us by a supporter as, and I'll quote, a force to be reckoned with in securing places for the voices of Métis women to be heard. And further, that if it wasn't for Hucl Nora, I don't know where I would have ended up, end quote. Now she continues to support and educate about Métis culture, ensuring that the history of the Métis people is accurately told and preserved. She's an organizer, an advocate, a woman who, for nearly 60 years, has been reaching deep into the hearts of everyone she touches, and in no small way makes them better for it. Your Honor, I present to you for investiture with the Saskatchewan Order of Merit, a woman whose tenacity of spirit will echo through the generations. Nora Cummings. Oh, you can clap anyway. It's a clapping event. We're happy. Neal Hardy. Now, Japanese farmer and philosopher Masanobu Fukuoka said, and I'll quote, "The ultimate goal of farming is not the growing of crops, but the cultivation and perfection of human beings," end quote. And Neal Hardy's impact and commitment to the advancement of rural Saskatchewan cannot be overstated. Raised on the family farm in the Edamame area, he learned at a very young age the value of hard work. And so too were learned the lessons that cultivated and perfected his own philosophy of public service. Now he first began in the hard scrabble field of rail work for CN, and then moved eventually into service stations and general stores, but it was his work ethic and kindness and love for his fellow citizens that provided success that allowed him to give back to his community. He's been a municipal leader as a councillor in Reeve and the RM of Hudson Bay number 394, a provincial leader as a member of the Legislative Assembly and Minister of the Crown, and he's been the president of the the Saskatchewan Association of Rural Municipalities. Now, the purpose of municipal governments, of course, as the level closest to the people, is in the delivery of services required locally to allow the community to thrive. For nearly 50 years now, in a variety of roles, he's been stalwart. Work in municipal government is often thankless and certainly not rewarding in the economic sense, but it is unequivocally vital to all who live and work there. And Neal has seen this and understood what needed to get done, not only in his RM, but also provincially in his role with S.V.M. But he's also presided over local minor baseball and curling clubs. And he sat on countless boards and chaired innumerable committees. In a province that has long relied on the selfless work of many, Neal Hardy stands tall as a leader. And he's been described to us as trusted by farmers, townspeople, Indigenous leaders and politicians, locally, provincially, and nationally. And it was during his time in Regina in politics, he was a compass that guided rural programs, policies, and legislation. His decades as rural government led him to the cabinet table and helped open doors to economic development in rural Saskatchewan. Your Honor, I present to you for investiture with the Saskatchewan Order of Merit, a true son of Saskatchewan, utterly dedicated to his vocation and avocation to the betterment of them all. One more. Pierre Hucl. What does the Canadian airline industry, France's postal system, and purple vodka have in common? Well, let me explain. Pierre Hucl's parents were from Czechoslovakia and France. They met in Paris. Eventually, they moved to Canada, and Pierre's dad joined the Canadian airline industry. This saw a young Pierre living in a variety of countries before high school, broadening his horizons and giving him a perspective on the world rare in others his age. But it was the 4 months a year, living in France, traveling from small farm to small farm with his grandfather, a local postmaster, that exposed him to the impact of farming to communities. This planted the seed, pun intended, that has led to a career that has been described to us as a world-class application of the science of plant breeding and genetics, and has applied creativity and commitment to improving agricultural productivity, end quote. In France, with his grand-père, they stopped at each farmhouse for a coffee and a snack and certainly a chat. And it was an idyllic and ideal introduction to agriculture that would hold him in great stead as he embarked on his eventual career. And folks, what a great career it's been. There really are too many accolades to mention, but I'll try a few. 88 new crop varieties, including a number of hardy and novel varieties that produce healthier food and offer higher yields and sustainable production systems. Over 210 peer-reviewed publications, dozens of mentored graduate students, many now leaders in the field as well. And folks, literally billions of dollars over the years contributed to the economy of this province. Now, one supporter mentioned to us that if Saskatchewan is the breadbasket of the world, then Dr. Hucl has played and continues to play a major role in feeding it. His work not only contributes to our economy, but it addresses global food security. He is a highly respected and trusted colleague and leader. Oh, and the purple vodka. That's Stumbletown Distilling's purple wheat vodka made right here in Saskatoon, and it's created from a specialty wheat developed by Pierre over 26 years that contains healthy anthocyanin pigments, like those found in blueberries. He increased the color of the grain to make it more commercially attractive. And while it's perhaps a little wrong of me to call vodka healthy, it's just one more way that his research has provided economic benefits here in Saskatchewan. Your Honor, I present to you for investiture with the Saskatchewan Order of Merit, a researcher of unparalleled gifts, whose work has contributed positively to the well-being of millions of people around the world. Pierre Hucl. Meikle. Terry Tempest Williams, the writer in residence at the Harvard Divinity School, writes about citizenship, and I'll quote here. "The human heart is the first home of democracy. It is where we embrace our questions. Can we be equitable? Can we be generous? Can we listen with our whole beings, not just our minds, and offer attention rather than our opinion? And do we have enough resolve in our hearts to act courageously, relentlessly, without giving up, trusting our fellow citizens to join us in our determined pursuit?" End quote. Now, I chose that quote carefully and deliberately after meeting with Don Meikle, as I felt it asked the right question about a man whose last 3 decades has been spent improving the lives of some of Saskatchewan's most disadvantaged youth. And the more I thought about it, I realized that the answer, as it relates to Don certainly, is an unequivocal yes. Now, Don grew up in difficult circumstances that saw him on the streets at a vulnerable age. And despite this, he broke away and in a way that allowed him to build a life for his family. And upon joining EGADS in 1993 to empathize with and to begin to help other people experiencing the same challenges. Underserved, susceptible, and marginalized youth are helped at EGADS through a variety of programming, much of it Don's direct design. Through his leadership in the human services field as an advocate for children, he has partnered with police to assist youth at risk of sexual exploitation. He has led in the building of dozens of homes, taking kids off the street. And he's reunited mothers with their babies and created the country's first social impact bond called Sweet Dreams, providing an alternative to children coming into the care of the system. Now, the goal of Sweet Dreams was to impact 22 children over 5 years. But by early in the 3rd year, 54 children were reunited with their mothers, removed from the welfare system, and that number, it continues to increase. Now, these examples, along with Baby Steps, the I Am Not For Sale web app, and Operation Runaway, among so many other programs and services created, partnered, or led by Don, are often duplicated across the country and internationally. All because of a man who has had the resolve in his heart to act courageously, relentlessly, without giving up, and with the trust in his fellow citizens to join him in his relentless pursuit of better lives for children here in Saskatchewan. Your Honor, I present to you for investiture with the Saskatchewan Order of Merit, a man whose strong belief in the value of life and generosity of spirit has saved the lives of hundreds of children. Don Meikle. Jacqueline Tisher. Now, Jacqueline Tisher is no stranger to hard times. As a pediatric and neonatal intensive care nurse, she helped parents through some of the most difficult moments in their lives, with love and with compassion. And as a mother of children herself with complex medical needs, she has endured firsthand both the joy of motherhood and, more than once, the extraordinary grief that comes with the loss of a child. It was in this grief and also in the knowledge that there were opportunities to provide parents and children with resources to offer a better life for children with complex medical needs that Hope's Home, named for her late adopted daughter, was born, and for which medically safe daycares and live-in supportive living homes across the province were created. Now the daycares and homes are staffed by nurses, early childhood educators, and developmental workers. They provide an environment filled with joy and with love, providing children and parents with an opportunity to lead a life with community and with normalcy. This Made in Saskatchewan solution has been copied across the country, and Jackie is a staunch advocate and sought-after public speaker for the Hope's Home model. And Hope's Home provides daycare for nearly 400 children, and I think that number is going up, and full-time supported living care for over 30. One supporter told me, and I'll quote, "Jackie is a person who embodies the spirit of Saskatchewan, a person who has worked hard and placed importance on people, and who has shown a genuine commitment to create a better healthcare environment for our children and their families in Saskatchewan." Now, I met with Jackie a couple weeks ago. We spent the morning in preparation for tonight. She took me through the daycare facility in Regina, and folks, as a dad of 5 myself, seeing the care, the love, and watching this mom to so many speak with the children, it was incredibly emotional. And then we went to one of the supporting living homes, and I saw how the warmth of how these children live, with rooms decorated and individualized to each child. It was such a welcoming environment, despite the challenges that these children face on a daily basis. And I spoke with the parent of one of the children living there, and they told me that if it wasn't for Hope's Home, their child would permanently live in the Children's Hospital in Saskatoon, and that Hope's Homes has restored their opportunity to be a parent. Your Honor, I present to you for investiture with the Saskatchewan Order of Merit, a mother of extraordinary talent, whose advocacy and dedication to children is proof that a dream, passion, and no little hard work can create a better province. Jacqueline Tisher. I now call on His Honor, the Honorable Russ Morasti, for his remarks. Your Honor.
I was waiting for more. What a wonderful evening. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Hucl. Distinguished guests, there's so many special people. Well, they're all special. So I'm not going to start listing people, but certainly acknowledge everyone that's here. Guests, ladies and gentlemen, and of course the recipients that we've already been introduced to. Good evening, bonjour, friends and relatives, greetings to each and every one of you. Before I acknowledge actually the current members of the Saskatchewan Order of Merit, I want to make a brief mention of Lieutenant Colonel Jason Quilliam here and his staff at the Protocol Office. Tremendous job that he's done, his staff has done in preparation for this ceremony. And to back up a year or so, a little bit more, managing the presentation or distribution of 7,000 Platinum Jubilee, Queen Elizabeth II Platinum Jubilee medals, and just an amazing, amazing work that they did. So thank you, Jason. I just wanted to acknowledge that. So the current members of the Saskatchewan Order of Merit in our audience this evening, as I said, we've met them, we've heard about them, just absolutely incredible. I want to thank them for their ongoing contributions to our province. Thank you so much. You know, Donna and I are often asked if we ever get tired of presenting recognitions or awards or medals, certificates to people, and the short answer is absolutely not. It really is a highlight of our duties within this office, and it allows us the opportunity, the privilege, and the honor of meeting people like you tonight who contributed in such significant ways to our great province. And our province would not be as great as it is without people like you and others who contribute on a daily basis. So thank you all for what you do. It is a distinct privilege for me to serve as a Chancellor of the Saskatchewan Order of Merit and to pay tribute to this year's recipients. Being invested in the Order of Merit is our province's highest honor and is bestowed to outstanding people who make Saskatchewan, our province, a great place to be and envied by many. I'm grateful to people who took the time to nominate these impressive individuals. I also want to acknowledge the Saskatchewan Honors and Advisory Council and the Saskatchewan Protocol Office, which I've done. I got ahead of myself, but I needed to do that, for managing this special tribute from the Crown and the Government of Saskatchewan. The 2023 honorees are truly remarkable people, as we've heard. Their extensive achievements have enhanced our province in so many diverse ways in the areas of agriculture, healthcare, science, research, education, industry, social and public services, culture, sport, and recreation. They have fought and advocated for the rights and well-being of infants, youth, women, the disabled, Indigenous people, and really all of us. I thank these esteemed recipients on behalf of our sovereign and the people of Saskatchewan for striving to do what is right, even when it is not what is easy to do. Your determination to keep working to achieve your goals is an example for all of us. I do believe it is up to each of us to create the communities we want to live in. Sometimes the obstacles we face can seem overwhelming, but if we ever need proof that we can make a difference, we need only look at the accomplished people that we heard about and met this evening. To each of the newest members of the Order, thank you again for your inspiration. You are excellent role models for your colleagues, neighbors, friends, and families. Congratulations on receiving this well-deserved honor. I am delighted to recognize your significant service to our great province. You can now use the letters S.V.M. after your name, and I hope that you will, and you will wear your medal with pride as well. I also want to acknowledge the family and friends of the members of the Order who are here this evening for providing the support that has been essential to ensure that they're able to do what they do each and every day. Again, to the 2023 recipients of the Saskatchewan Order of Merit, congratulations, and please enjoy this special evening in your honor. In closing, I am pleased to bring greetings on behalf of His Majesty King Charles III, King of Canada. As I have since taking office, I also would like to give that greeting in my first language of Woodland Cree and acknowledge as well the drum and the prayers that were provided us at the beginning of this ceremony. Charles Nesto, Canada. Thank you. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you that are here and the work that you do and making our province what it is today. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to rise and remain in your place until the vice-regal party, the official party, and our recipients depart. You're invited to enjoy a reception, so there'll be a little bit of a reception here, but certainly where we came in just off the elevators over the course of the next 15, 20 minutes as I take the rest of the crew here for their official group photo. When it's time to return to our tables for supper, I'll make an announcement at the podium here, and protocol officers in the other room will also shepherd us back in here. So, ladies and gentlemen, please rise if you're able.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today